much for joining me today. We could start by you telling me who you are and how you got connected with the person that you nominated.
All right, so I'm a tourist guide. I have a small tour operation company as well, and I basically love my guiding. So I do a lot of guiding in the company, and I leave all the horrible admin work to everybody else. Unfortunately, there's nobody left at the moment, but we'll have to see what happens in the new year. And then I met the fellow tourist guide. I was actually offering, apart from being a tourist guide, I've also registered as a counselor a couple of years ago. Prior to working in the tourism industry, I joined in 2011. And prior to working in the tourism industry, I studied counseling and coaching. And so I set up a little group for people who were going through crisis with COVID. And Peter was one of those people who joined the group. And that's how I knew of him because I'd seen him on social media platforms. And, you know, when he traveled to Cape Town, there were often little messages that he was Cape Town and meet with people. Unfortunately, I never had an opportunity to meet up with him previously, but I met him more personally on the group. And then he sort of out of the blue said he wanted to assist me. So that was really amazing.
Perfect. And in a sense, Moira, you were also a super lifter with Peter in the sense of you guys helping out and assisting within the COVID times. Tell me, what is it that Peter did, or his influence? What was it that compelled you to nominate him for being a super lifter?
Okay, so the first thing I've got to say is I actually nominated a lot of people because I was amazed at the outpouring of support. I posted something on my Facebook page, and I expected, actually looking for some work and saying, has anybody got any jobs? I've got this string of degrees and I can't find work. And there was a massive outpouring from the tourism industry. It was just amazing. Many of the people I didn't know. There were some people who assisted anonymously. It was just incredible. And it was people who weren't guides. So it was people who were in hotels or people who were in, other areas of tourism. So Peter was one of those. And as I say, I did nominate quite a few people. So he was one of them, but it was just phenomenal. It was the most amazing thing. People helped with advice. People helped with grocery vouchers. People assisted with cash, putting into my account or cash or bringing food parcels to my home. It was just the most incredible thing. So yeah, so Peter was one of those. And you're the one that he's the one that you picked. So that's it. But there were, as I say, there must have been 5 or 6 people, maybe even more, that I nominated, from coach drivers, coach owners. It was just phenomenal. And I know I'm going on about being phenomenal, but I was blown away. I was absolutely blown away. And then what I did was I was really in financial need, but what I did was some of the money I took and I passed that on to 3 other people as well, so that there was there was some kind of benefit it wasn't just me that was benefiting. So I passed some money on to 3 other people, 2 of whom were in the tourism industry and one who's out of the tourism industry, but she really needed it. So so the tourism industry didn't only help me, it also helped me to help others as well, which was fantastic.
That is amazing. And phenomenal, as you said, reaching out, helping others, knowing that all and everyone was affected by the pandemic. Moira, tell me, besides being in a space where you could lift others up, being in a space where people around you were lifting with you, is there maybe any other projects that you think that you would like to be involved in that would, supersede the fact that you were lifting others up, helping others like you did?
Yeah, well, look, I'm happy. I've always been involved in community initiatives and various other social responsibility activities. Even in my company, I have a little NPO called Guides for Goodness, and we try and do different things in the community, whether it's mentoring, whether it's assisting people, whether it's donating books, whatever it is. So, yeah, I mean, I would be happy to hear about any initiative. And if I have the skills, I'm very happy to offer those skills. It was quite by accident that I learned about this initiative, and I was delighted because you tend to only function in your specialization. So you tend to have contact with guides. But this was in a Zoom meeting, and I raised the point that guides are often forgotten. They are very important in the chain. In fact, I would say, and it's not only because I'm a guide, but they're often the most important, because what happens is people will phone an agency or they'll book online. They don't see anybody. There may be some emails that flow between the two, but prior to the pandemic, there was never Zoom or anything like that people were using on a regular basis. So the first time a visitor comes to South Africa and meets a real human being in the flesh is when they meet their guide or their driver at the airport or wherever the person picks them up. So the guide and the driver, because you must imagine if a driver's driving a bus of 35 people, he's got 35 lives in his hands. So both of those people are very, very important. And actually, a guide can make or break a tour. You can have a return visitor because you had an excellent guide. It doesn't matter how beautiful the scenery is. If the guide messes it up, those people won't come back to South Africa again, or may not come back to South Africa again. So we don't compete as guides. We compete with other countries, because people can choose to go to other countries. And of course, in the Western Cape, we like to think of ourselves as a little bit special. So we're not only competing with guides in the Western Cape, we're not competing with guides in the Western Cape, we're competing with guides in other centers, Johannesburg, Durban, etc., etc. But most importantly, we are competing with other countries, because that's when the foreign exchange goes out. So if there was something that I could do with the guiding community, I know there are a lot of initiatives that are happening there, but if there was something that I could do to raise the profile of guides and the level of importance, that would be fantastic.
That's perfect. Thank you so much. Hello, Peter. Thank you so much for joining us today. You were nominated as a super lifter in the tourism industry. And I think let's start with you telling me who you are and how you came about to be involved in the industry.
My name is Peter Tait. I'm originally born and bred in Cape Town. Moved to Gauteng in 1991. I was involved from 1989 in on the retail travel sector. Moving up to Gauteng, and then from 2017, I've been a tourist guide. So basically, more than 30 years in the travel industry.
Nice. Peter, I'm going to ask you, you say that you're a tour guide. What does it entail being a tour guide in South Africa, and how did you manage with the challenges when COVID came and the tourism industry was the first to be in the downline?
Well, for me, being on the freelance tourist guide side, it's been fairly difficult. From 2019, I had a couple of big tours. And then from November 2019, all my tours basically stopped. I was working with Springbatter Safaris, and I was working with Thompson's Tours. And yeah, through that, it was a question of me not knowing what to do, how to keep my daily mindset. So it was fairly. It was not a very good time because I mean I love people, I love entertaining, I love being on the road, and sitting here in Pretoria, okay, with the actual background, the sea, then the ocean is my way of relaxing. But sitting in Pretoria, there's nothing really that much to do. I try to network as much as possible on my Facebook, Instagram, um, and try keep communication between people on that side. I'm very much of a practical person. Really, I'll if you give me something to do, I'll do it. If you tell me something to do, it will be a little bit more on the difficult side. I'd rather say, okay, fine, let me join you and we do everything together. So I would say I'm pretty much of a supporter um, in 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 helping people.
Perfectly said, Peter, perfectly said. And as a supportive system for others, you were nominated as a super lifter. And well, how does that make you feel that people think that you've helped so much that you have encouraged them to stay motivated? And would you like to share how you got to be part of organizations and how you think that people actually nominated you for being a super lifter?
Very, very humbled. Sure. Um, and also fairly emotional as well. Not that I'm doing nothing really on my side. I'm just basically trying to give people support by phoning them, by keeping them. One thing that I've done since COVID in March, had absolutely no income at all. Well, since November, no income at all. I was one of the fortunate ones that um, I had some savings left over. And I bought myself a mountain bike. And since then, I've been riding seriously since um, May 2020. And I have been doing that ever since. What I'm trying to do now is incorporate the actual mountain biking with the touring as well. Um, that is one thing I'm extremely passionate about now. To actually put together tours for overseas market and the actual local market as well. For me, it is well, it's a fantastic honor to actually be nominated. Um, I feel extremely humbled. And I thank the person, Moira Edmunds. She was the one that nominated me. So I thank her from the very good friend of mine. Yes, she's in Cape Town. I was very fortunate enough to be able to go down to the Western Cape November and spend some time with my mum in Amanus, and then also met up with a couple of the actual Cape Town guys. So it was very nice to actually be part and parcel of the actual guiding fraternity.
That's very great, Peter. You like you said, it's been a challenging time for you and many others in the tourism industries. Peter, tell me,
Thank
is there any other initiatives or something else that you see yourself doing in the future to maintain motivating people and uplifting them?
Well, yes, I mean, as a mountain biker now, you're out in the open, you're getting exercise, your mental, your whole physical and mental stability is there.
That's brilliant, Peter. Thank you so much for your time.